All right, so here's the piece I want to talk about. T. Woodley continues to speak out against racism in MMA. Have you followed any of that?
Yeah, a little bit.
And, man, that's it. Boy, anytime you say the word racism, everybody's just got to run away from it. And I'm not going to. I'm gonna tell Mr. Woodley that
I'll tell you now, watch your step.
I appreciate him coming out and standing up and saying, "Hey, man, this is what it is." He hasn't made any specifics, but he has said, "Hey, man, I'm the worst treated champ of all time." Here's my take on it: is racism exists 100%. If you go somewhere where there's 90% Caucasians and 10% black, there's going to be all sorts of racism. This sport's cut up pretty much like that. Go to any event. We just went out to the Bellator, and again, we're going to talk about this tomorrow. 95-5. So there is racism out there, but I don't think in this particular case this is what's going on. I think that the UFC, which they've made their mistake before in hedging their bets, thought old Wonder Boy was going to beat T. Woodley, and they did do some things that, as it turned out, didn't work out too well. And it shines that on that subject where you say, hey, this race, man, T. Woodley, I don't think it's race. I just think it's numbers. Racism exists. I don't think in this particular case that's what's going on. But, man, you've got to understand that your crowd, it's 75, 80% Caucasian. And at least 25% of those guys are rednecks, and they're racist in some portion of their life, whether it's behind the doors with their three drunk friends or somewhere. Racism's real. It exists, and it's going to exist forever. But and I did want to speak on that.
That's well said. You said that really well, and you are right. Before you started that is a slippery slope, and that's the new thing in America. When a guy tries to say something, he puts his foot in his mouth, and then he comes out and gets labeled. And I did see what Tyron said on that. I didn't fully read it, but he's mentioned it a few times. You and I talked about Serena Williams. She came out and made a comment that if she was white and a male, she would be known as the greatest athlete of all time. And I told you, I thought she had a point on the male thing, that it is seldom that women are known as the greatest athlete. That does typically go to the males. But when I think of the greatest athletes, I do one through probably 4 or 5. They are all black. And when you think of the best fighters ever, they're always black. From boxing, it's either black or Mexican, particularly when you go into your boxing days. But if Tyron feels that way, as much as I'd love to go, oh, that's not true because I don't want it to be, yeah, man, there could be some truth to that. I don't know all of his points. I didn't hear him. I know that's a bad son of a bitch, and his race doesn't make any difference to me, but maybe it does.
The part of that I wanted to get out there was that, man, I respect him for having that position, whether he's right or wrong, to stand up and say, this is what I truly believe in. That doesn't happen too often within the parameters of the UFC, man. You get out of line and it ends up costing you. I mean, he's got a big fight coming up, and I did want to get that out there. I actually thought about it at the show. I actually thought about it all week. I was like, yeah, man, racism's real and it exists. I don't think it exists in this particular case, but exists in the crowd.
Really?
Well, absolutely. I mean, again, it's just a number game. Let's not act like us, two people in Westland, Oregon, where it's 95% Caucasian, don't hear things all the time that are racism.
I was in an atmosphere at a fight, and it couldn't have been. Now, it was ethnic more than it was race, but boy, it was tense. I went to I'm struggling with his name, Juan Manuel Marquez, thank you, versus Pacquiao. What did they fight, 4 times or something? This is the last time they fought, so part 4. I have never been in a room like that. It was half Filipino, it was half Hispanic, it was down the middle, and it was our country and our ethnicity versus your country and your ethnicity. It could not have been clearer, with the waves, with the chants, with the feel, but the second it was over, that was it. They accepted the result. It was the coolest thing in that regard. And, the Olympics work that way. Again, it's not race, but it's nation against nation. But everybody accepts the results. And it doesn't matter what flag you're bearing. You set those 21 days aside, and you fight for your country unapologetically. But when it's over, you accept the result. But I've never felt it at MMA. I mean, I'll have to trust you, but I usually haven't been in the crowd that much as part of the action. When I look at Tyron, I just see a total package. You got a handsome guy. You got a young guy.
Well-spoken,
smart, and he's the baddest dude in the world. I'm looking at Tyron going, Tyron, you got this whole thing figured out. But if he says he's still feeling, so I don't know if it's from the crowd or from sponsors or who exactly he was referring to, but that makes me feel bad. I don't want him to feel that.
Well, one of the things that he spoke on was that they had the American flag when Wonder Boy walked, and it was like T. Woodley. I'm going to quit saying his name wrong since I can't get it right, and I'm going to call him T. Wood or T. Woodley. He said, "Let's not act like I'm from another country."
Sure,
So I did want to speak on that. Good for him. I think he's off base, but I heard his topic, and it is real. Racism is real. People want to talk about, everybody that goes to church, for instance. Everybody goes to church. They're praying to God, this, that, and the other. Well, they might walk by 5 bums to get inside that church. So what are they doing? Let's go be godly to the dude that's not eating. Trying to make a point that.
I think I got your point.
Yeah.
I think I got your point. Look, you talk about this topic for 10 minutes. You're going to step in it somewhere.
I don't think I stepped in it.
No, I don't think you did
either.
All
right, let's move on.
Well, all right, move on.
Were you going to kiss me a little bit?
No, go ahead.
We're going to do. All right. So let's do some fight announcements.
All right. Who do you got?
We got the gal that we've butchered her name several times, but now I have it in front of me, and I'm not going to butcher it. It's Valentina Shevchenko versus Juliana Pena.
Tough fight. Love
Tough fight. I think Juliana Pena is probably the best fighter in the world. I think she can beat Amanda. I think she wins this fight. I think she comes back and she beats Amanda.
Yeah, hard to argue against. Does she beat Amanda? I mean, I have no idea. I don't know if she beats Valerina Shevchenko, but I hear your point. She definitely can. I always thought that Julie was undefeated. I spoke to her up at a smaller show. She said no. She said, you know what? I lost before I ever got in the UFC. She won all her UFC fights. She won the Ultimate Fighter. She had something, when she was younger and getting her feet wet. I think she had a couple losses, but she shared that with me. I've always represented her as undefeated at 7-0, which she is in the UFC if you're counting the tournament, and you should count the tournament. But I agree with you on that. She's the total package, but that's a tough division. So that gal you're talking about, she kind of floated under the radar. She beat Holly. She beat Holly right after, Holly had lost to Misha, which is only 2 fights removed from Ronda. So, yeah, I mean, this is the one. If Julie beats her, I got to imagine she's then in line to fight Amanda. Now, you can never really play that game, but again.
Well, it's number 1 against number 2 in the rankings.
Yeah, she's got the rankings, she's got the look, she's got the youth, she's made for a poster, she is the tournament champion, she is the total package. But that's a hard fight. Yeah, those girls can squabble, man. That wasn't always the case. I used to hear about those girls' fights and go, man, who cares? They're both terrible. It's not like that anymore. It's not. They are now these skilled combatants with real ranking systems that you look at and go, yeah, I get that. Let's get her in there for a title shot.
All right, we got Donald, number 5. So I got these notes from Brew Chance, and he's got number 5, Donald Cerrone, and I'm like, at what weight? Is that at 70 or so? Donald Cerrone versus Jorge Masvidal.
So that's at 170. I think Donald has officially said he's staying at 170. Now, I get it that he floats around up and down and you never know, but I think he is officially at 170. Hey, look, I don't know anybody on the run like he's having. Robbie Lawler went through it, where we would sit down here and try to break him down and go, I have no idea why he is all of a sudden so good, but he is. Cerrone is on one of those. And I keep waiting for the bottom to fall out just because it does. Guys get on runs, but you go win 3-4 fights. I mean, that's a hell of a run. He's won like 11 of his last 12, something insane like that. Now all of a sudden he's taking guys down. Remember what he did to Cote? Took Ricky Story down, then took him out. We're going, wait a minute. Not only are you a killer, but you're getting better? How are you getting better? But he is.
Well,
and that Masvidal is one mean customer.
Well, and Donald just had a war. He just had a war with Matt Brown. He just had a war with Matt Brown, and here he is right out of the gate coming back again.
Yeah, I think he lost. I think he lost the first couple rounds, according to the official judges, right?
I don't know how they had it. I had it 2-0 Matt Brown. Close, but 2-0.
And then Donald stopped him.
Yeah, he gave him a hug, then kicked him in the head.
Oh.